Yeah, as life would have it, really. The refrigerator in my office would go. But anyway, welcome to today's edition of. It's going to be a Wednesday. Wow, one Wednesday it may be a Wednesday, a Wisdom Wednesday, Wednesday wind down. I don't know, but today it's going to be a Wisdom Wednesday. So, welcome to those that are watching live. Welcome to those that will actually catch the YouTube video or the loop. So, the subject of today's Wisdom Wednesday is I'm gonna tell you how I got here, but don't take yourself for granted. And normally when we talk about things being taken for granted, we would speak of like another person for granted, a resource, job, anything. But how often do we actually think about us taking our very own self for granted? And that's where I want to come from today. So when I was thinking about it, I was just thinking I always say week after week why, which is number one, why am I a life coach, is because in doing a proper analysis, heck of even my life, I realized that I do give a lot of myself to other people, and the return may be low, and sometimes none, and then sometimes it's the return on my investment is great. So I'm not going to say that what I give, I don't get back in return, because I do understand that the way I give is not the way that I will receive in return. So as I was thinking about, for us not to take ourselves for granted, I was first thinking about, how many times do we stay up late at night, burn the midnight oil, burn a stick from two ends, and let's say go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then we're back on the grind about 6, right? So while it's good if you can manage or balance that, but in the long run, it's really not good for you. How many times have you been working late and you're, in order to stay up, you're snacking or you're drinking caffeine, be it soda, coffee, um, Red Bulls, whatever you have to do. It's admirable that we're willing to do it and to sacrifice to reach that desired obstacle. But let's talk about the other part of it. The other part of when you continue to do it. So as I was writing my notes for this Wisdom Wednesday, I immediately got this. What I thought of was erosion, right? I thought of erosion and the concept of erosion doesn't happen overnight. It's something that's constantly, it's like that slow drip. Y'all have to excuse me because I'm on Instagram as well. So it's the slow drip that eventually, let's be old school, turn. If you don't turn the little drip off, and have your tub, kind of rusted, right? So so that's where I really wanted to. So that's where I wanted to come from with this one. Okay, so as I was doing my research for erosion, I went back to, actually, my kids were in here, so we had like this mini science class, and there's erosion, especially the water kind. But anyway, so erosion happens by water, ice, and I gotta look at my other note, right? But wind, water, and ice. But so that's just because wind is the lightest one. Wind, although it causes erosion, it actually feels good, right? So I hope y'all see where I'm about to go with this. So as I was going down to water, erosion by water happens in 3 ways. Well, four. It happens with rain, rivers, waves, and floods. This is like discovery learning for myself too. So here we are. So like I said, we're going back to thinking about don't take yourself for granted. The vision I had is like a rock or boulder, but the erosion. So when I first thought of rain, so we talk about like, well, how does this apply to my life? Because these four things, the rain, the river, the wave, and the flood, can all occur in our life. So when we think of rain, because rain, when we're just talking about rain, it comes from the top. It kind of trickles down. So what are these aspects, or what does rain look like? What can rain look like in your life? So rain is your environment. Now we're talking about how it eventually, affects us. So rain in our everyday life, metaphorically, it could be in the form of like our environment. So that means our home environment, our work environment. It can be factors such as like your family, and just things over time, those isms we have, the things you're doing because your mama did it, because her grandma did it. So those are things that just as we go through life, we're affected by it. So every now and then, it's just you're going through life, but yeah, like you're slowly but surely, it might not be much, but the rain is affecting. So I would challenge you is to look at just the rain. We're not talking about the torrential downpours. We're not talking about, we're just talking about regular old rain. The same rain that waters flowers. And that's the thing about rain. When we think of rain, to some farmers, like they need the rain. That rain helps their crops, which provides income, and the whole process with a farmer who have a farm and has a whole bunch of land. So in everything, even with the rain, there's the good and then there's the bad. There's the bad part of it. So in your environment, let's talk about your home. If you have a lot of people in your house, or your home is where all the neighborhood people come to hang, to kick it, to release, while that is good, but eventually, you don't really get too much peace, or the doors constantly open and close. So just these environments that, although when they're happening is fine, but we don't realize the effect till later. So the next one would be rivers. So I read the definition. And it says rivers, and that's why I want to read it word for word. Rivers can create a significant amount of erosion over time. They break up particles along the river bottom and carry them downstream. One example of erosion is the Grand Canyon, which was formed by the Colorado River. That's huge. That's a lot of erosion, just a lot of sediment. It's a lot of deposits. So when I was thinking, okay, well, how can I correlate this into our lives? What can rivers in our life look like? And the rivers could be suppression, things that we've suppressed. The rivers can be emotional baggage, but then the rivers, it's things that are kind of brought up. It's like it was a natural path, and it kind of pulled in the area. It just pulled, something created. And for this thing, like really, the Grand Canyon as humongous as that is, and such a large mass, was created by broken sediment. Like, do y'all hear that? A large mass was created by broken sediment that was at the bottom of something. So this ain't even the stuff that is seen. This is the little rocks and pebbles and just, as we call, the little nitnoid stuff, the ankle biter stuff. Well, that ankle biter stuff, with the river, it just carried it along and it created the Grand Canyon. So when we're looking at things that are these humongous things in our life, how did that thing create? Start looking at your proverbial Grand Canyon and see what it is composed of, right? So the next one is waves. So when we think of waves, we think of a beach. You should think of a beach, right? But you think of a beach, you think of surfing. You rarely see a person I'm going to the beach when it's thundering. So we're thinking about waves. They're beautiful. I mean, really, if we're going to tackle a wave, especially for those in the competitions that enjoy surfboarding, it's a choice. So, and when I was thinking about waves, I was thinking of cyclic behaviors. And I'm going to give some examples, because these waves are a choice. You got to think. These cyclic behaviors are a choice because we can stop them. So here's some examples. Procrastination. How many times do we kick the can down the road because I'm tired? I want to deal with this first. Those income tax ballers, the ones, like they struggling, come about like May till maybe December, and then they like popping during income tax season time, especially, if they got the advance, people try to get you on doing your taxes, right? So that is a wave. Waves are those relationships. Yeah, we've been off and on for X amount of years. You could fill in your own blank for that. Well, how many times do we continue to allow it to happen? Because once again, it's a choice. Because you're riding this wave, that the behaviors of he or she, be it your children, be it your significant other, be it you only stay on a job 5-6 months because you don't like being held accountable, or they about to test you and you didn't want to stop smoking weed. I mean, this is cyclic behavior. Cyclic behavior is every month you go into the pawn shop, every month or every other month you're doing the payday loans. This is cyclic behavior. Not judging. I get it. Things happen sometimes and you may need to pawn something, whatever the word is for it now. I don't do it, but you may need to, do something right quick. But when these things that are in place, I'm not even talking about the business, we allow temporary solutions to be permanent. Well, temporary problems to become permanent solutions. And that's when you're like in and out of either, robbing Peter to pay Paul, writing a check, because you don't have the cash, and you know exactly how long it'll take for the bank to process it. That's cyclic. But you're not willing to change anything. You're not willing to work an extra shift. You're not willing to, downgrade your phone plan. You name it, you could fill in your blanks. So, in order to break this cycle, you need to take away something, but replace it with something more positive and beneficial. And then the last one is a flood. And, floods are unexpected, really. I don't think, if you look at the calendar right now, nowhere is the Great Flood of 2021 on anybody's planner. We ain't planning for it, right? So in thinking about the floods in our life, and after I explain these to you, I'm gonna come bring it all together. The floods of our life would be like losing a job. So hear me. There's a difference between quitting a job, and there's a difference in losing a job. Quitting a job, that was your choice. Losing a job is you came to work thinking you were going to have a job the next day. That's a flood because it was unexpected. I came up with death, but at the same time, you know what else is a flood? Life. And we're not talking about our day-to-day life. We're talking about like bringing new life into the world. That is a flood, because it's a whole lot of things that you can't control. You can't control a baby. You can't. You just can't. You can't control death. You can't control a baby. You can't, as a woman, you can't control how you're going to feel after you have the baby, physically or mentally. So giving birth or bringing life into the world is a flood for both the father and the mother. So I'm not going to discount the fathers and say, that they don't experience anything when they have a child, because that's not true. Although women experience something else in birthing a child. And another flood could be divorce. Because you think you want a divorce until a divorce happens, and then you're dealing with a whole bunch of emotions. You're dealing with being single. If you haven't been single for a while, you're dealing, with the what ifs, would have, should have, could have. So, like I said, sometimes even in relationships, I'm not even going to say divorce. I'm going to say like the loss of a relationship. Those are floods, because when we're talking about we're on the outs, but when it is over, whole different feeling that overtakes us, especially if you love the person. And I'm not just talking about, boyfriend, girlfriend. I'm talking about friendships. Friendships die. Just a whole lot of just loss. So when I say we can't take ourselves for granted, we need to think about things, think about what's next, and really, how are we emotionally prepared to deal with it? There's a lot of parents, even because prom season just ended, somewhere in here, when one of these four, you will find a place for the kids' prom. Why? Because what if, because at some point, unless you planned like years ago, some families have overspent. Some people wanted their children to have such a great senior prom that they broke the bank, meaning they didn't pay their bills. So now their bills may be late. I don't know what may happen if somebody, when they substitute one for the other. But somewhere in there, as these things happen, this stuff causes erosion. Stress is a form of erosion. And we're thinking, oh, because I had a glass of wine, I dealt with it. I pray. Now, I believe in prayer. 100% I believe in prayer. But at the same time, when I'm praying, I'm not worrying. I mean, how they say, if you're going to worry, don't pray. If you're going to pray, don't worry. So I do my due diligence. I ensure that I've done the best that I can, and then I release it. So just think about like the proverbial things that causes erosion in your life, and then give yourself a break. Like don't take your health for granted. If the doctor said, well, you should cut back, on salt or sugar, don't wait until you're in the ER in a diabetic coma to be like, maybe I really need to take that serious. Or, your blood pressure is really elevated and it's starting to affect other organs. Things just because life, I think because we're strong and physically we're standing. Physically, we're standing. Now, we might be standing with a cane. We might be leaning. And with society, part of the thing I'm trying to work through and what we depict is somehow we think even if you're leaning, it's okay. While you're still here, you're still in a fight. No, sometimes you need to take a knee. Sometimes you need to take a break. And I'm not saying totally disconnect and neglect your responsibilities, but we have to know when to say enough is enough. We need to be able to say, I can't overextend myself. I know as a Black woman, it's all this, I am she, I am powerful, I am strong, I am I am. That is true. We are. We're the pulse, we're the people that get, we wake up outside. However, we're still a soul that needs to be refreshed. We're still emotions that need to be expressed. And anytime you suppress anything or just think, I can keep on going, well, my mama did it, my granny did it. We come from a strong line of fill in the blanks, be it workaholics, homemakers, I'm a ride for my kids, I'm a ride for my man, all of those. Cool. But it is like a point where you got to say, okay, I'm a ride for myself. And sometimes riding for yourself is taking a mental health day. Sometimes riding for yourself is, not going to the gym. Sometimes your body needs to recover. Your mind needs to recover. You need to replenish. And don't just always think, I could do it tomorrow. I could do it on Saturday, because two things. Now I'm going to mention the physical and the spiritual. If you don't physically slow down, your body will. Your body will shut down and say, I'm tired. And spiritually, the one thing we don't need is for God. We don't want. Sometimes we need it, but we don't want God to sit us down. Because when God sit us down, can't nobody help us get back up. And then normally it's a one-way conversation to where God is speaking to you and the only thing you're doing is listening. So so that's it. Like, that's my wisdom for today. You are, I am my greatest asset. I am my greatest asset, and I can't take myself for granted. I can't take what I offer for granted. I can't take my gifts, my talents for granted. You notice I'm not speaking about nobody else, because I think we, on a big scheme of things, we honestly honor other people. We honestly respect other people. We give other people their flowers while they're still living. We give and we perform due diligence for others. We just have to do that for ourselves more often. So I do just want to say, erosion is not a bad thing. The wind is not a bad thing. Rain is not a bad thing. It's just a lot of it. Even, a lot of fun. Fun is fun, but too much fun wears you down, don't it? Remember how you say, ugh, you know how many times I done went back to work after a weekend tired and I had fun the entire time. So that's proof of, even in having fun, the stuff that's good for you, those good laughs, it affects you too. So just be mindful of all the rain sources, the river sources, the waves, especially the waves, because we can control it. Binge eating, a wave, working out, losing weight, gaining weight, taking our medicine, not taking our medicine, um, practicing self-care. Like, you deserve it, do it. Don't be selective when you do it. Set it so it's not a wave. It's just continual. Because with a wave, it goes up and then it comes down. And that's when life starts going up and down. Because we're on a wave. So life is amazing when it's perfect. Life is amazing when whomever's calling, texting, coming over. But what about when they don't? What about when they don't answer the text? What about when they don't return the email? What about when they don't come over? So those waves that we can control, especially if they're negative. Because I know we got our mountains and we got our valleys, and that comes with life. But we're talking about intentionally riding these waves, because the highest of highs, sometime you might have the lowest of lows as well. So thank you all for joining. Thanks for watching. I ask that you share this, leave some comments if you have any questions, because I really think this whole erosion thing is actually going to come out and be a conference or a seminar, because we need to better prepare ourselves for the things that are happening in our life, even the good things. Kids going off to college, amazing thing, right? But then what we're like, all my life, oh, my kids going to school, I can't wait till they go to college. I was about to be an empty nester next year. So just imagine, having a humongous house, which is what we have, and it's because I had kids. So what happens when you have 7 bedrooms and now we're only using 2? Or you used to seeing your children at the kitchen table. You used to going to church with them. You used to dinner. That's something I have to prepare myself for. My kid graduating next year. I need a whole year. And that's college. That's just one facet of it. And then she's going to go to Clark, Atlanta. I got to prepare myself for that. Because it's going to change. I've had 17, now 18 being years of just all this positive raindrops. That's my kid. And then she's going to be gone. I'm going to have to prepare myself for that. So, not saying the rain is all negative, not saying the deposits in the rivers that can build your proverbial Grand Canyon is negative, because there's positive things that are in there too. But just be aware of how these things happen. So thank you for joining. Please share, please comment. This will be also on YouTube. I have YouTube for Coach in the City. You can follow me on Instagram at Coach in the City. I have a private Facebook group if you'd like to be added to it, Coach in the City. And I am now taking clients, more clients, for life coaching to actually help with your life. Like really, like let's address these things. Let's talk about the good and the bad. Let's talk about the present. Let's talk about the what's next. Let's talk about what didn't happen and how to learn to accept it and to find the good. Because I can find the good in anything. Anything. You could say my car got repossessed. You know what I'm gonna say? Well, at least you had a car to get repossessed, because some people don't. So there is not a situation that I can't find anything good about it, and I really love that, because that's where I am in life. I will find the good in everything because there is good in everything. So if y'all need to contact me, y'all know how to, and I'll be in touch, and just continue to look out on these social media streets, because I'm going to be there. So have a good one. See you soon.